but wonder what life was really like for a pirate beyond the Hollywood myths. Forget buried treasure and endless rum, picture cramped hammocks, constant creak of a wooden ship, and the whisper of distant waves. This isn't just history. It's an auditory journey into the surprisingly gritty, often mundane, and brutally real daily life aboard a 17th century pirate ship designed to transport you to deep sleep. Welcome to Boring History for Sleep. We gently unfold the pages of the past to help you unwind and drift into a peaceful slumber. Tonight, imagine yourself stepping aboard a weathered 17th century pirate ship, its timbers creaking softly underfoot as the salty air fills your lungs. With a sense of quiet adventure, we'll explore the rhythms of life on the high seas, from the mundane routines to the underlying tensions, all delivered in a steady, soothing voice to ease your mind. As you settle in, let the distant sounds of waves lapping against the hull become your lullaby, carrying you back to an era of sails and secrets. Relax now and allow the story to unfold at its own unhurried pace, inviting you to close your eyes and simply listen as the first light of dawn begins to filter through the small porthole in your cramped cabin. The gentle lapping of waves against the hull creates a rhythmic backdrop that signals the start of another day at sea. The water moves with a soft, persistent whisper, almost like a hushed conversation between the ship and the ocean, reminding you of the constant motion that defines pirate life in the 17th century. Faint creaks from the wooden planks echo through the vessel, a subtle symphony of age timbers settling and expanding in the cool morning air. Distant seagulls cry out sporadically, their calls muffled by the vastness of the horizon, adding a layer of natural ambience that blends seamlessly with the ship's own sounds. Imagine yourself lying in a swaying hammock, the dim light casting long shadows across the deck above. As the crew begins to stir in this tranquil yet anticipatory moment, the porthole, no larger than a dinner plate, frames a sliver of the awakening world outside. The sea meets the sky in a hazy blend of grays and blues. This tiny window offers a glimpse into the endless expanse that pirates called home, a place where land was often a distant memory and the ocean dictated every routine. The light peeking through carries with it the promise of the voyage ahead, illuminating dust motes that dance lazily in the confined space of your quarters. As the waves continue their gentle assault on the hull, you could almost feel the subtle vibrations traveling through the wood, a comforting reminder of the ship's resilience against the elements. Seagulls will overhead, their faint screeches punctuating the serenity, evoking the isolation and freedom that came with life aboard these floating worlds. Below deck, the air is thick with the scent of salt and tar, familiar aroma that permeates every corner of the pirate ship during these early hours. The hull, crafted from sturdy oak and sealed with pitch, absorbs the wave's energy, translating it into a low, soothing hum that resonates through your body as you awaken. Morning light struggles to penetrate deeper into the ship, leaving much of the interior in a soft twilight that encourages a slow emergence from sleep. Distant creaks grow slightly more pronounced as the crew shifts in their hammocks, preparing for the day's labors without haste or urgency. Seagulls' calls fade in and out like echoes from a dream, blending with the lapping waves to create an enveloping soundscape that lulls the mind back toward relaxation. Imagine yourself rising from your hammock, the fabric swaying gently with the ship's roll, as the porthole's light reveals the rough-hewn details of your surroundings. The waves' persistent lapping serves as a metronome for the morning, setting a pace that is neither rushed nor stagnant, but perfectly attuned to the sea's timeless rhythm. Faint creaks from the rigging above hint at the wind stirring, a prelude to the activities that will soon unfold on deck. Seagulls, ever opportunistic, circle the ship in search of scraps, their distant cries adding a touch of wildlife to this human endeavor on the water. In this moment, the voyage feels eternal, a cycle of dawns where the boundary between rest and readiness blurs softly. The hull's exterior, barnacle-encrusted and weathered by countless storms, bears the marks of past journeys, each scar a silent testament to the perils navigated. As waves lap against it, With unwavering consistency, they wash away the night stillness, infusing the air with a fresh, rainy mist that seeps through any cracks. Morning light through the porthole highlights the condensation on the glass, tiny droplets forming patterns that mimic the ocean's waves in miniature. Creaks from the ship's frame respond to the subtle shifts in pressure, a dialogue between wood and water that has persisted for generations of sailors. Seagulls' faint calls drift on the breeze, evoking the vast solitude that pirates embraced, far from the constraints of civilized shores. In the quiet of your cabin, the lapping waves become a meditative focus, their sound insulating you from the world beyond the ship's confines. The porthole acts as a portal to the dawn, where the light gradually strengthens, casting a warm glow on the simple furnishings of wooden chest, a coiled rope, perhaps a tattered map. Creaks echo faintly from distant parts of the vessel, signaling that the ship is alive, breathing with the sea's ebb and flow. Seagulls with their intermittent cries remind you of the life teeming just outside, a contrast to the enclosed space where pirates found their uneasy repose. This gentle awakening sets the tone for the day, blend of serenity and subtle anticipation that defines the start of a pirate voyage. As the light intensifies through the porthole, it illuminates the textures of the wooden walls, revealing grains worn smooth by years of hands and humidity. Waves continue their soft lapping, a constant companion that drowns out any lingering thoughts of landlocked worries. Faint creaks multiply as more crew members stir, yet the overall atmosphere remains hushed, preserving the dawn's tranquility. Seagulls' calls grow slightly more insistent, perhaps drawn by the scent of breakfast preparations beginning elsewhere on the ship. Imagine yourself pausing here, absorbing the scene. As the voyage truly begins in this cocoon of sound and light, the hull vibrates ever so slightly with each wave's caress, a tactile reminder of the ocean's gentle yet unyielding presence. Through the porthole, the morning light reveals the first hints of color on the water, shifting from deep indigo to softer azure as the sun climbs. Creaks from the deck above suggest the bosun is already at work, but their rhythm is slow, matching the languid pace of the sea. Distant seagulls provide a soundtrack of freedom, their voices carrying across the waves without intrusion. In this space, the pirate's world feels intimate, a microcosm where daily life unfolds against the backdrop of endless horizons. Waves lap with a persistence that soothes the soul, their sound filtering through the hull like a whispered invitation to embrace the day. Porthole's light now bathes the cabin in a gentle warmth, highlighting the makeshift nature of pirate accommodations, hammocks slung close together, belongings stowed in nooks. Faint creaks resonate through the timbers, a chorus that speaks of the ship's history and endurance. Seagulls cry out in the distance, their calls blending with the ambient hush to create a layered auditory experience. This moment captures the essence of setting sail, where preparation meets peace in the early light. Imagine yourself gazing out the porthole, the waves lapping, drawing your eyes to the foam-tipped crests just beyond. The light peeking through carries a sense of renewal, washing away the shadows of night and ushering in the routines of seafaring life. Creaks from the ship's structure provide a subtle underscore, each one a note in the symphony of motion. Distant seagulls add variety to the soundscape, their faint presence evoking the wild, untamed nature of the seas. As the voyage commences, this serene interlude allows the mind to wander, bridging sleep and wakefulness seamlessly. The hull, steadfast against the waves' gentle insistence, transmits their rhythm into every fiber of the ship, creating a unified pulse. Morning light through the tiny porthole illuminates particles in the air, a quiet spectacle that mirrors the vastness outside. Faint creaks grow in frequency as the crew awakens fully, yet they remain soft, preserving the dawn's calm. Seagulls' calls fade and return like breaths in meditation, enhancing the immersive quality of this beginning. In the 17th century, such mornings were common for pirates, a time when the sea's embrace felt both nurturing and indifferent. Waves continue their lapping dialogue with the hull, a sound that has lulled countless sailors through centuries of voyages. The porthole frames the emerging day, its light revealing the subtle details of cabin life ropes neatly coiled, lanterns extinguished from the night before. Creaks echo through the wood, a reminder of the ship's organic nature, flexing with the ocean's will. Distant seagulls provide an external anchor, their cries punctuating the internal quietude. This gentle scene sets the stage for the journey, inviting you to immerse yourself in the pirate's world without haste. As the light strengthens, the porthole becomes a window to possibility, where the waves lapping promises adventure tempered by routine. Faint creaks from the rigging hint at the wind's awakening, a precursor to the sail's deployment. Seagulls wheel in the sky, their distant calls blending with the ship's sounds to form a harmonious whole. Imagine yourself here in this moment of transition, where the voyage begins not with fanfare but with subtle, soothing familiarity. The rhythm of life aboard starts anew, carried on the wave's endless cadence. The hull absorbs the wave's energy, translating it into a soothing vibration that permeates the cabin's confines. Morning light peeks more boldly through the porthole, casting patterns on the floor that shift with the ship's gentle rock. Creaks resonate softly, each one a testament to the craftsmanship of 17th century shipbuilders. Distant seagulls add a touch of wilderness, their faint screeches reminding you of the life beyond the vessel. In this tranquil setting, the pirate's day unfolds gradually, blend of necessity and nature's pace. Waves lap with unwavering rhythm, the sound a constant in the variable life of piracy. The porthole's light now fully illuminates the space, revealing the simplicity of belongings: a knife, a flask, perhaps a stolen trinket. Faint creaks multiply as activity stirs above, yet the atmosphere remains calm, inviting reflection. Seagulls' calls drift on the breeze, enhancing the sense of openness amid enclosure. This dawn moment encapsulates the voyage's start, a gentle immersion into historical seas. As the ship stirs more fully into life, the slow, rhythmic hoist of sails begins, marked by the deep groaning of thick ropes pulled through wooden blocks high above the deck. Each haul is deliberate and measured, the crew working in coordinated silence, their bare feet padding softly against the planking as they lean into the task. The ropes, coarse and tarred for durability, creak under the growing tension, a low, resonant sound that travels down the mast and vibrates faintly through the entire vessel. Wind catches the edges of the canvas even before it is fully unfurled, causing gentle flapping that builds gradually into a steady whisper. Imagine yourself on deck now, the morning air cool against your skin. As the sails begin their ascent with patient inevitability, the main course rises first, its heavy fabric inching upward along the yardarm, accompanied by the persistent groan of him straining against pulleys. Crew members time their pulls to the ship's gentle roll, ensuring the motion remains smooth and unhurried, a dance honed by months at sea. As the sail climbs higher, the wind fills it more substantially, shifting the flapping from erratic bursts to a rhythmic billow that harmonizes with the waves below. Ropes continue their steady protest, each creak a familiar note in the symphony of departure, echoing across the deck like distant thunder softened by time. The canvas, weathered and patched from previous voyages, catches the light in muted shades of off-white, a testament to the practical endurance of pirate seamanship. Higher still, the topsails follow, their lighter weight allowing a slightly quicker ascent, though the crew maintains the same deliberate pace. The groaning ropes blend with the emerging wind in the rigging, creating a layered soundscape that envelops the ship in purposeful calm. Flapping canvas grows fuller as the sails reach their positions, the fabric snapping softly before settling into place with a satisfying hush. Tension builds gradually in the lines, each pull securing the ship's motive power against the vast ocean ahead. Imagine the subtle shift in the deck beneath your feet as the sails take the wind, the vessel leaning ever so slightly into its new course. The foremast sails rise in tandem, their ropes adding to the chorus of groans that reverberate through the timbers, a deep, organic music unique to wooden ships under sail. Crewmen call out softly when needed, their voices low and sparse, preserving the tranquil atmosphere of the morning departure. Wind rushes through the partially raised canvas, producing waves of flapping that ebb and flow like breathing, gradually steadying as the hoist nears completion. The ropes, now taut and humming faintly, transmit the wind's energy directly into the hull, awakening the ship fully to its element. This methodical process, repeated countless times on 17th century vessels, unfolds without rush, allowing the rhythm to soothe rather than stimulate. As the last sail reaches the top, the flapping diminishes into a gentle, constant rustle, canvas fully bellied out and drawing the ship forward. Groaning ropes settle into a quieter strain, their initial protests giving way to a steady tension that will hold for the duration of the voyage. The deck tilts imperceptibly at first, then more noticeably, as the wind presses against the sails and propels the vessel away from its anchorage. Wind in the sails creates a soft, pervasive whisper, a sound that will accompany every mile of the journey ahead. Imagine standing amidships, feeling the subtle acceleration, the ship's timbers adjusting to the renewed motion with familiar creaks. Mizzen sail, smaller and aft, completes the set, its hoist accompanied by the same deliberate pulls and accompanying groans from the rigging. Canvas flaps briefly in the cross breeze before catching fully, adding its contribution to the growing harmony of wine-filled cloth. Ropes tighten with final adjustments, their creaks fading into background notes as the crew secures the lines with practiced knots. The entire process has unfolded over many minutes, a ritual that marks the transition from rest to purposeful travel on the open sea. The ship now moves with quiet grace, sails drawing steadily, the morning light glinting off the taut fabric. With all sails set, the wind's presence becomes constant, a gentle rush through the canvas that drowns out lesser sounds in its soothing consistency. Groaning from the initial hoist lingers only faintly in memory, replaced by the even strain of lines holding firm against the breeze. Flapping occurs only occasionally now, when a shift in wind direction causes a brief ripple across the sails, quickly corrected by minor adjustments. The deck vibrates subtly with the transferred energy, a living connection between wind, canvas, and wood. Imagine yourself leaning against the rail, rhythmic sounds enveloping you as the shore begins its slow retreat. The sails, fully deployed, present a majestic yet understated profile against the sky, their curves filled with invisible force that drives the ship onward. Ropes, once vocal in their protest, now hum quietly with sustained tension, a low undertone to the wind's song. Canvas settles into its role, the initial flapping transformed into a steady, almost meditative rustle that blends seamlessly with the waves. Crew members move about the deck with quiet efficiency, coiling excess lines and securing blocks, their actions part of the same unhurried rhythm. This completion of the hoist marks a pivotal moment, when the ship fully commits to the sea's embrace. As the vessel gains way, the wind in the sails strengthens slightly, producing a fuller, resonant whisper that fills the air around you. Groaning timbers respond to the increased motion, adding depth to the auditory tapestry without disrupting its calm. Flapping is rare now, only a gentle reminder when the helmsman adjusts course to catch the best breeze. The ropes, tar black and weathered, stand out against the pale canvas, symbols of the labor that harnesses nature's power. Imagine the sensation of forward movement, growing steadier, the ship's bow cutting cleanly through the water, the hoist complete, the sails work in concert, each one contributing to the overall propulsion with quiet efficiency. Wind flows across the canvas in smooth streams, creating a layered sound of rushing air that is both constant and comforting. Initial creaks from the ropes have subsided entirely, leaving only the subtle vibrations of a ship under sail. The morning light illuminates the scene softly, casting long shadows from the rigging across the deck. This harmonious state, achieved through patient effort, defines the pirate ship's relationship with the elements. With sails fully set and drawing, the flapping canvas has become a memory, replaced by the gentle billow and release that accompanies steady wind. Ropes maintain their tension silently now, their earlier groans unnecessary in this balanced equilibrium. The ship responds with graceful motion, slicing through the waves with minimal resistance. Wind in the sails provides a pervasive white noise, ideal for contemplation or rest. Imagine yourself amid this serene activity, the voyage truly underway in its calm progression. The rigging, a web of lines and blocks, settles into stillness after the activity. Only the occasional faint creak betraying any movement. Canvas holds its shape beautifully, filled by the breeze yet not strained beyond endurance. Hoist has transformed the ship from a floating home and rest to a vessel in purposeful motion. Wind continues its gentle assault on the sails, producing sounds that soothe rather than startle. This transition, executed with measured care, sets the tone for the days ahead on the open water. As the ship leaves the anchorage behind, the sails perform their duty flawlessly. The winds whisper, a constant companion. Groaning ropes are quiet, their work done until the next adjustment or storm. Flapping occurs only in minor adjustments, brief interruptions in the otherwise steady rhythm. The deck feels alive beneath your feet, responding to both wind and wave in harmonious unity. Imagine the horizon expanding as the ship gains speed gradually, the morning unfolding peacefully. The final securing of lines marks the end of the hoist. Crew stepping back to admire their work in quiet satisfaction. Wind in the sails grows more pronounced with distance from land, a fuller sound that envelops the entire vessel. Canvas flaps softly in greeting to the open sea, then settles once more. Ropes stand taut and true, ready for whatever the voyage may bring. This methodical setting of sails captures the essence of 17th century seafaring, deliberate and attuned to nature's pace. As the shore begins its slow retreat into the distance, whispers of anticipation ripple through the crew, low and subdued like the rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze. These murmurs carry fragments of conversations, hopes for favorable winds, recollections of past hauls, or quiet jests to ease the uncertainty of the voyage ahead. Distant calls from the deck punctuate the air occasionally. Sharp yet restrained commands from the quartermaster directing minor adjustments to the rigging. The sounds blend into a tapestry of human presence aboard the ship, a reminder that this floating world is alive with shared purpose and hidden tensions. Imagine yourself among them, the whispers drawing you into the collective rhythm of departure. As the land fades to a hazy line on the horizon, the crew's low murmurs grow slightly more animated as the ship picks up speed. Discussing the day's watch rotations or speculating on the next port of call in hushed tones. Anticipation lingers in their voices, a subtle undercurrent that speaks to the mix of excitement and wariness inherent in pirate life. During the 17th century, occasional sharp commands cut through the whispers, brief and authoritative, ensuring the sails are trimmed just so without disrupting the overall calm. The receding shore amplifies these sounds, as if the vastness of the sea sharpens every utterance into clarity. This auditory layer adds depth to the voyage's beginning, where human elements intertwine with the natural symphony of wind and wave. Whispers circulate around the mainmast, where groups of sailors gather loosely, their words soft and interspersed with pauses that allow the ship's creaks to interject. The anticipation is palpable, yet contained, reflecting the disciplined camaraderie forged through shared hardships on previous expeditions. Distant calls echo from the helm, sharp instructions to maintain course, delivered with the efficiency of seasoned mariners. As the shore diminishes, these sounds take on a more isolated quality, emphasizing the ship's separation from the familiar world of land. Imagine leaning against the bulwark, the murmurs enveloping you like a comforting shroud, blending seamlessly with the fading view. The low murmurs evolve into a rhythmic hum of activity, crew members exchanging quiet affirmations as they secure loose gear on deck. Anticipation builds quietly, not in grand declarations, but in the subtle shifts of posture and glance toward the open sea. Occasional sharp commands from above, perhaps to reef a sail, slightly pierce the air, their brevity maintaining order without alarm. The receding shore serves as a visual cue, its departure mirroring the whispers fade into focused resolve. This moment captures the human essence of piracy, whispers and calls form the social glue holding the crew together amid isolation. As the ship ventures further, whispers of personal stories emerge, sailors sharing snippets of their lives before the mast intones barely above the wind's sigh. The anticipation is woven into these exchanges, a thread of optimism tempered by the knowledge of risks like storms or naval patrols. Distant calls continue sporadically, sharp and precise, guiding the vessel's path with minimal fuss. The shore, now a mere smudge, heightens the intimacy of these sounds, making the crew's voices feel like the only tether to humanity. Imagine yourself listening in, the low murmurs lulling you into a sense of belonging on this wooden island adrift. Murmurs drift across the deck like smoke, carrying light banter about rumored treasures or the captain's latest plan, all kept to a whisper to avoid drawing undue attention. Anticipation simmers beneath the surface, evident in the quickened breaths and occasional nods. Among the men, sharp commands from the lookout ring out at intervals, directing attention to distant sails or adjusting the wheel, their tone firm yet not frantic. As the shore recedes completely, these sounds anchor their crew's focus, shifting from departure's nostalgia to the voyage's demands. This interplay of whispers and calls defines the early hours at sea, a soothing prelude to the routines ahead. The crew's whispers turn inward, personal reflections voiced softly as the reality of open water sets in, blending hopes with quiet resolve. Anticipation colors their words, a mix of eagerness for plunder and caution born from past betrayals or battles. Occasional sharp commands break the pattern, calling for vigilance or minor tasks, their delivery crisp against the backdrop of murmurs. The vanished shore amplifies the isolation, making each sound more significant in the vast expanse. Imagine the deck as your vantage. These auditory threads weave a narrative of communal life on the waves. Low murmurs persist as the sun climbs higher, discussions of rations or watch duties conducted in undertones that respect the morning's peace. The whispers carry a subtle anticipation, hinting at the adventures or dangers that lie beyond the horizon. Distant calls, sharp and purposeful, ensure the ship remains on course, their infrequency preserving the tranquil flow. With the shore gone, the sea's immensity envelops these sounds, turning them into a private chorus for the crew alone. This gentle cacophony fosters unity, a rhythmic element in the pirate's daily symphony. Whispers of strategy emerge among trusted mates, low voices plotting courses or recalling maps in the captain's absence. Anticipation builds in these confabs, a quiet buzz that energizes without escalating. Sharp commands from the bridge intervene when needed, directing the helmsman or signaling the all-clear, their tone authoritative yet calm. The receded shore leaves only the ocean's horizon, framing the sounds in endless blue. Imagine absorbing this ambience, the murmurs inviting your mind to wander through historical echoes. Murmurs soften further as routines take hold, crew members settling into their roles with whispered acknowledgments. Anticipation lingers like a faint scent, present but not overpowering in the face of the sea's vastness. Occasional sharp commands punctuate the calm, ensuring discipline amid the freedom of piracy. Without the shore's reference, these sounds become the voyage's heartbeat, steady and reassuring. This transition marks the full embrace of the journey, where human voices harmonize with the ship's eternal motion. As midday approaches, whispers evolve into sparse exchanges, the crew conserving energy for the watches ahead. The anticipation from departure mellows into acceptance, a subtle shift in the murmurs timber. Distant calls remain sharp when issued, maintaining order on the sprawling deck. The absent shore underscores the self-sufficiency of life at sea, amplifying the intimacy of these interactions. Imagine yourself part of this, the low sounds guiding you toward relaxation in the narrative's flow. Murmurs blend with the wind, carrying light-hearted quips or warnings about weather signs and hushed collaboration. Anticipation threads through, a constant undernote in the pirate's unpredictable world. Sharp commands delivered from afar cut cleanly through, their precision a hallmark of effective seamanship. With no shore in sight, the ocean claims dominance, yet the crew's voices persist as a human counterpoint. This auditory layer enriches the voyage's start, inviting immersion without demand. The whispers quiet as focus sharpens, individual thoughts voiced only when necessary. In the growing expanse, anticipation remains. Whisper itself in the grand scheme of seafaring risks. Occasional sharp commands reinforce structure, their rarity enhancing impact. The receded shore symbolizes departure's finality, leaving sounds to fill the void. Imagine drifting with these elements, calm narrative unfolding at its own pace. Low murmurs resume in clusters, sailors bonding over shared experiences in tones that soothe rather than stir. The anticipation of what lies ahead colors these talks, balanced by the rhythm of their lives. Distant calls, sharp and sporadic, keep the ship aligned with intent. Ups and land heightens awareness, making each sound a vital connection. This completes the dawn symphony, transitioning seamlessly into the day's grind. As the voyage settles into its rhythm, and the whispers of departure fade into the steady hum of the sea, we transition below deck to the cramped galley, where the day's first meal is prepared with simple, unhurried efficiency. Clatter of wooden bowls being set out on a scarred table echoes softly in the confined space, each placement a deliberate act amid the dim light filtering from above. Meager rations, hard biscuits, salted pork, and perhaps a bit of dried fruit are portioned out carefully, the sounds of knives scraping against wood adding to the morning's subdued activity. Sloshing water from a barrel nearby punctuates the preparation, as cups are filled with the brackish liquid that sustains the crew through long days at sea. Chewing sounds will soon follow, muffled and rhythmic, as sailors gather to break their fast in this tight-knit corner of the ship. The galley, a narrow compartment wedged between bulkheads, fills with the faint aroma of preserved foods being unwrapped, a stark contrast to the fresh bounties of land. Wooden bowls clatter gently as they are passed hand to hand, their rough surfaces worn smooth from years of use on rolling waves. Rations are doled out with equity in mind, though portions reflect the scarcity that plagues pirate voyages, each item handled with care to avoid waste. Water sloshes in pitchers as it's poured, the liquid's movement mirroring the ship's gentle sway and creating a soothing liquid cadence. Imagine the crew settling around the makeshift table, their chewing commencing in quiet unison, a communal ritual that grounds the day in basic necessity. Below deck, the air grows thicker with the sense of salt and smoke from a small stove where any hot elements of the meal might be warmed. Clatter intensifies briefly as utensils are distributed, spoons carved from bone, wood clinking against bowls in preparation. Meager breakfast items are arranged methodically, the cook's hands moving with practiced slowness to ensure fairness among the ranks. Sloshing sounds emerge from the scuttlebutt, the water barrel tipped carefully to fill mugs without spilling precious drops. Chewing begins sporadically at first, then synchronizes into a soft, collective murmur that blends with the ship's creaks, fostering a sense of routine amid uncertainty. The cramped space forces proximity. Sailors elbow to elbow as bowls are filled with the day's allotment, their clatter a familiar herald of sustenance. Rations, then infested with weevils that are tapped out beforehand, are accepted with resigned pragmatism. The preparation process a daily affirmation of endurance. Water sloshes rhythmically as it's ladled out, its sound a constant reminder of the ocean's abundance just beyond the hull, yet rationed strictly within. Chewing noises fill the galley gradually, each bite deliberate and unhurried, allowing flavors or the lack thereof to linger in the dim, swaying environment. This meal, though sparse, serves as the foundation for the labors ahead, binding the crew in shared simplicity. Wooden bowls resonate with soft impacts as portions are dropped into them, the galley alive with the understated sounds of communal feeding in the 17th century. The meager fare includes staples like ship biscuit, tough and enduring, broken apart with a distinct crack that echoes in the close quarters. Sloshing water accompanies every sip, drawn from casks that have traveled far, its taste tinged with the wood's essence. Chewing proceeds in waves, sailors masticating slowly to soften the hard deck, their jaws working in a meditative pattern. Imagine yourself squeezed into this space, the clatter and sloshes enveloping you like a blanket of familiarity on the high seas. The preparation reaches its peak with the final distribution, bowls clattering one last time as they find their owner's hands amid the galley's haze. Rations are consumed with minimal conversation, the focus on nourishment rather than indulgence, each item a product of careful preservation. Water sloshes in cups raised to lips, the liquid's movement sensing with the ship's roll to create a harmonious flow. Chewing sounds dominate now, that chorus of quiet persistence that underscores the pirate's resilience. This routine, repeated daily, weaves sustenance into the fabric of shipboard life. Mundane anchor in perilous waters. In the galley's confines, the clatter subsides as eating commences, replaced by the subtler noises of daily survival aboard a pirate vessel. Meager breakfasts sustain bodies accustomed to hardship, the portions measured to stretch supplies across unpredictable voyages. Sloshing echoes faintly as water is conserved, each drop vital in the face of potential shortages from leaks or storms. Chewing rhythms vary slightly among the crew, some savoring while others hasten, yet all contribute to the ambient hush. The space, lit by a swinging lantern, casts flickering shadows that dance with the sounds, enhancing the immersive quality of this historical moment. Bowls clatter softly against the table as they are returned for cleaning, signaling the meal's conclusion in the cramped below-deck haven. Rations, though limited, provide the energy needed for the day's toils, their preparation a testament to the cook's ingenuity with scant resources. Water sloshes one final time as mugs are refilled sparingly, the sound fading into the background as sailors prepare to ascend. Chewing winds down, leaving a satisfied quietude that transitions the group toward their duties. This breakfast ritual, essential yet unadorned, sets the tone for the grind that defines life at sea. The galley's atmosphere thickens with the collective presence, wooden bowls now silent as the last crumbs are gathered. Meager portions reflect the economic realities of piracy, where spoils could supplement but basics remain frugal. Sloshing water in the barrel serves as a reservoir of life. It sounds a gentle undercurrent to the meal's end. Chewing ceases gradually, replaced by sighs of contentment or grumbles of insufficiency, blending into the ship's eternal creak. Imagine the transition from rest to labor beginning here, fueled by this simple repast in the heart of the vessel. Clatter resumes faintly with the cleanup, bowls stacked and secured against the ship's motion in the narrow galley. Breakfast rations, consumed in full, leave behind only echoes of their presence, a cycle of scarcity and satisfaction. Water sloshes as it's used for minimal washing, conserving every ounce for future needs. Chewing memories linger in the air, a sensory reminder of the human element amid wooden walls. This segment of daily life, though perilous in its dependence on finite supplies, offers a comforting predictability. The cramped space clears slowly, clatter of departing feet on ladders mixing with the galley's residual sounds. Meager fare has been dispatched, fortifying the crew against the elements and enemies alike. Sloshing fades as the water barrel is sealed, its rhythm pausing until the next draw. Chewing sounds, now absent, give way to the anticipation of chores above. In the 17th century pirate world, such meals were lifelines, bridging nights of watchfulness with days of exertion. Bowls are wiped and stored, their final clatter a punctuation to the breakfast interlude below deck. Rations and packs sustains through the morning, a subtle energy in the veins of hard-working sailors. Water sloshing quiets entirely, the galley returning to its standby state of dim readiness. Chewing has transformed hunger into resolve, a quiet alchemy in confined quarters. This preparation phase, integral to the daily grind, flows seamlessly into the maintenance that keeps the ship afloat. As the last sailor exits, the galley's clatter diminishes to near silence, save for the ship's inherent groans. Breakfast, though meager, fulfills its role in the perilous routine of sea life, warding off weakness, Sloshing water echoes one last time in memory, a fluid companion to solid sustenance. Chewing rhythms replay faintly in thought, underscoring communal bonds. Imagine the shift upward now, where the deck awaits with its own set of sounds and tasks. Cramped galley, now empty, retains the warmth of recent activity. Bowls secured against future use. Ration's essence lingers in the air, a blend of salt and simplicity that defines pirate sustenance. Water sloshing has ceased, but its availability reassures in the background of daily perils. Chewing concludes the meal's narrative, paving the way for action. This mundane yet vital start propels the crew into the broader rhythm of their lives at sea. But the meal concluded and the crew fortified for the tasks ahead. Attention turns to the constant maintenance that keeps a 17th century pirate ship afloat, ready for whatever the sea may bring. Scrubbing brushes rasp steadily against the deck planks, their bristles worn from daily use, scraping away salt crust and grime in long, methodical strokes. The sound is rhythmic and repetitive, a soft scraping that blends with the creak of wood and the slap of waves against the hull, creating a soothing cadence of labor. Bare feet pad quietly across the freshly cleaned surfaces, sailors moving from station to station without hurry, their souls darkened by tar and constant exposure to the elements. Coiling ropes follow in turn, thick hawsers wound into neat circles with the faint friction of hemp against hemp, each loop placed with care to prevent tangles when needed in haste. Brushes continue their patient work along the weathered deck, pushing soapy water mixed from precious fresh supplies and lie into every seam, and crack to preserve the planking. The scrubbing produces a consistent, almost meditative hush, interrupted only by the occasional splash of a bucket emptied over the side. Ropes loosened from morning adjustments are gathered and coiled with deliberate turns, the fibers whispering softly as they slide over one another. Bare feet grip the deck securely, toes splayed for balance as the ship rocks gently, the sailors' movements attuned to the vessel's sway. This maintenance, essential to prevent rot and weakness, unfolds in unhurried segments throughout the day, a perpetual cycle of care. The deck cleans momentarily in patches where scrubbing has passed, the brushes rasping onward in overlapping paths to ensure thorough coverage. Friction from coiling ropes generates a low, tactile hum felt as much as heard through the planks beneath. Bare feet leave faint wet prints, evaporate quickly in the sun, marking the progress of the crew's quiet industry. Water sluices across the wood and rivulets, carrying away debris and leaving behind the clean scent of scrubbed oak. Imagine yourself amid this activity, the repetitive sounds enveloping you like a gentle tide, each task contributing to the ship's enduring strength. Scrubbing shifts to the rails and bulwarks, brushes dipping into buckets with soft splashes before resuming their steady scrape against weathered surfaces. Ropes of varying thicknesses are coiled separately, sheets, halyards, and braces, each finding their designated pins or cleats with practiced precision. The friction of rope on wood produces a subdued squeak at times, blending harmoniously with the broader symphony of shipboard chores. Bare feet navigate the wet deck carefully, avoiding slips on the slick planks that reflect the sky above. This labor, though demanding, proceeds at a measured pace, allowing the crew to conserve energy for unforeseen demands. Brushes pause occasionally for rinsing, the scrubbing rhythm resuming without disruption as fresh water is applied sparingly. Coiling continues aloft as well, topmen tending lines high in the rigging with the same careful friction of hands on rope. Bare feet ascend red lines silently, toes curling around hard shrouds for secure purchase during maintenance aloft. The deck below receives equal attention, every inch scrubbed to combat the corrosive effects of saltwater spray. These repetitive actions form the backbone of daily life, a constant struggle against decay waged with quiet determination. The scrubbing brushes move in wide arcs now, their rasping softened by the layer of water that cushions each stroke. Ropes settle into perfect coils, the final turns tucked neatly to secure them against the wind's mischief. Friction sounds diminish as tasks near completion in one area, only to begin anew elsewhere on the sprawling deck. Bare feet tread paths worn into the planking over years, guiding sailors instinctively to the next chore. Maintenance here is not a single event but an ongoing dialogue with the sea, preserving the vessel that preserves them. Scrub brushes are stowed temporarily as attention turns to splicing frayed ends. The subtle friction of marline against rope resuming in finer detail. Coiling excess line from recent sail adjustments occupies others, each circle laid with the soft whisper of hemp. Bare feet plant firmly during knots and hitches, providing stability amid the gentle roll. The deck, partially renewed, reflects the crew's diligence in patches of darker wetwood amid the sun-bleached expanse. This meticulous care extends the ship's life, a quiet testament to the pirates' dependence on their floating home. Repetitive scrubbing recommences in shaded areas, brushes rasping steadily to remove accumulated grime from less exposed surfaces. Ropes are inspected during coiling, weak spots noted for later repair with the faint friction of testing twists. Bare feet carry sailors between tasks seamlessly, their padding a constant undercurrent to the louder sounds of labor. Water buckets are refilled from the pump, the chore integrating fluidly into the rhythm of maintenance. Imagine the satisfaction of order restored, each completed task a small victory in the perpetual battle against entropy. The friction of holy stones large. Soft stones used for heavier scrubbing joins the chorus on stubborn spots, their grinding a deeper, more resonant note. Coiling reaches the smaller lines now, cordage handled with equal care despite reduced scale. Bare feet feel the texture changes beneath them, from smooth scrub areas to rougher, untreated sections awaiting attention. Brushes and stones work in tandem, their combined rasping creating a layered auditory experience. This phase of the daily grind ensures seaworthiness, performed with the calm focus born of necessity. Scrub brushes sweep away the final residue, water sloshing gently as it's bailed overboard in measured buckets. Ropes hang in orderly coils, ready for instant deployment yet protected from chafe. Friction subsides as hands rest briefly, crew pausing to survey their progress in quiet appraisal. Bare feet shift weight subtly, adapting to the ship's motion as the deck dries under the sun. Maintenance, though never fully complete, reaches a satisfactory interlude, allowing transition to other duties. The scrubbing rhythm slows as the deck achieves uniformity, brushes rasping faintly now over already clean surfaces for final polish. Coiling concludes with the last line secured, friction giving way to stillness in the rigging. Bare feet gather near the scuppers, sailors wringing out cloths or shaking excess water from tools. The air carries the clean scent of wetwood, a fleeting reward for the repetitive effort. This constant care defines the pirates' relationship with their ship, a bond forged through daily, unhurried toil. Brushes are beaten against the rail to dislodge debris, their soft thuds marking the end of one scrubbing cycle. Ropes, perfectly coiled, stand as monuments to order amid the chaos of sea life. Friction echoes in memory as hands smooth final adjustments. Bare feet begin to disperse, carrying the crew toward midday respite or watch changes. The deck renewed once more, cleaned subtly in the sunlight, prepared for whatever perils the voyage holds. Scrub brushes find their storage places, the rasping silenced until the afternoon round. Coiling complete, the rigging presents a tidy appearance that belies the labor invested. Bare feet pad towards shade or below, the padding fading gradually into the ship's ambient sounds. Maintenance pauses, not ends, its repetitive nature a comforting constant in uncertain waters. Imagine this rhythm lulling you, the chore's cadence mirroring the waves' own persistence. The friction of rope work lingers faintly as minor touches are applied, ensuring nothing is overlooked. Scrubbing tools dry in the breeze, ready for reuse in the unending cycle. Bare feet leave the deck momentarily cleaner, their prints evaporating like the morning's dew. The daily grind continues in subtler forms, vigilance and repair woven into every hour. This meticulous routine sustains life aboard, a soothing repetition amid potential peril. As the daily chores of scrubbing and coiling draw toward a temporary close, the The ever-present threat of storms or rival ships casts a subtle veil of vigilance over the deck, reflected in the watchful quiet that settles among the crew. Distant thunder rumbles faintly on the horizon, a low, rolling sound that echoes through the timbers without urgency, hinting at weather shifting far beyond immediate concern. Shifting winds tug gently at the sails, causing the canvas to breathe in and out with soft sighs. The rigging humming in quiet response to the changing breeze. The deck falls into a hush of observation, sailors pausing in their tasks to scan the sea, their silence a practiced alertness born of countless voyages. Imagine yourself here, the watchful quiet enveloping you, as the vast ocean holds its secrets in serene suspense. Thunder grows marginally closer at times, its distant growl blending seamlessly with the deeper creaks of the hull, never dominating but always reminding of nature's unpredictability. Winds shift in subtle gusts, altering the ship's heel ever so slightly and prompting minor adjustments that maintain the calm flow. Watchful silence prevails on deck, broken only by the soft pad of feet moving to vantage points along the rail. The air carries a faint charge, the precursor to rain that may or may not arrive, heightening senses without alarm. This quiet vigilance forms part of the daily rhythm, a constant awareness woven into the fabric of life at sea. The horizon is scanned methodically, eyes narrowing against the glare as distant thunder provides an auditory backdrop to visual caution. Shifting winds ripple across the water's surface, creating patterns of darker hues that sailors read like omens. Yet the response remains measured and unhurried. Silence deepens during these moments, communicating through gestures rather than words to preserve the tranquil watch. Distant shapes, clouds, or perhaps sails are noted and dismissed, or monitored, the decision unfolding in patient observation. The threat, ever present, manifests more in anticipation than immediate danger, allowing the mind to rest within the quiet. Thunder recedes and returns in cycles, its distant voice a soothing counterpoint to the wind's gentle variations. Winds shift again, filling the sails anew and steadying the vessel's course with minimal intervention. Watchful quiet persists, blanket of attentiveness that insulates the deck from unnecessary disturbance. Crew members stand in loose formation, their stillness contrasting the ocean's subtle motion beneath. This state of poised readiness defines much of the pirates' day, peril balanced by the calming vastness around them. As clouds gather far off, distant thunder mutters softly, its sound muffled by miles of open water yet resonant in the open air. Shifting winds bring cooler breaths across the deck, ruffling hair and clothing and passing caresses that signal change. The silence of the watch deepens, eyes trained outward in a collective gaze that requires no spoken coordination. Potential storms are assessed calmly, preparations mental rather than physical until necessity demands. Imagine the deck as a stage of quiet tension, the sounds and stillness inviting contemplation amid potential peril. Thunder's rumble fades into the background once more, leaving the shifting winds as the primary harbinger of uncertainty. Winds vary in strength, causing the ship to respond with graceful adjustments in tilt and speed. Watchful quiet holds firm, sailors exchanging subtle nods when a threat appears unlikely. The sea remains expansive and indifferent, its surface unbroken save for the wind's fleeting touches. This perpetual guard against nature's whims or human foes unfolds without haste, a meditative aspect of shipboard existence. Distant thunder echoes sporadically, a reminder that storms can arise swiftly yet often pass harmlessly by. Shifting winds settle into a new pattern, the sails filling steadily once trimmed by quiet hands. Silence on deck becomes almost tangible, a shared vigilance that fosters unity without words. Crew members lean against the rail, their postures relaxed yet alert, attuned to the subtlest changes. The ever-present threat lingers like a shadow, subdued by the soothing rhythm of observation. The horizon clears momentarily, thunder retreating to a barely audible murmur in the distance. Winds shift toward consistency, easing the need for constant attention while never eliminating it entirely. Watchful quiet softens slightly, allowing faint murmurs to return as the immediate concern wanes. Yet the deck retains its air of caution, eyes glancing seaward at regular intervals. This balance of alertness and calm characterizes the pirate's perilous routine, peril acknowledged but not overwhelming. Thunder rolls again far away, its sound a gentle warning woven into the day's fabric. Shifting winds play across the rigging, producing faint harmonic notes that blend with the hush. Silence prevails during peaks of uncertainty, the crew's quietude a form of discipline honed by experience. Potential rival ships are considered in every distant speck, dismissed or noted in serene evaluation. Imagine yourself immersed in this watchful peace, the sounds distant and non-intrusive. As the sun climbs, distant thunder diminishes, leaving shifting winds as the main variable to monitor. Winds gust and lull in predictable patterns, the ship adapting with inherent grace. Watchful quiet evolves into a sustained awareness, part of the background like the waves themselves. Sailors resume minor tasks in the lulls, their movements fluid and unhurried. Fed of storms or encounters remains, a constant undercurrent that heightens without disturbing the tranquility. Thunder's voice grows fainter still, merging with the ocean's deeper resonances. Shifting winds stabilize gradually, rewarding the patient watch with smoother sailing. Silence on deck lightens, though vigilance never fully relaxes in this exposed world. The crew's quiet reflects acceptance of the perils integrated into daily life without dominance. This watchful interlude bridges chores, a soothing pause in the perpetual motion. Distant thunder becomes inaudible, its retreat signaling another averted disturbance for now. Winds shift to a favorable quarter, filling the sails with steady purpose. Watchful quiet persists as a habit, eyes sweeping the horizon in rhythmic scans. The deck hums with subdued energy, peril receding into the realm of possibility rather than probability. The rhythm of vigilance continues, a calming constant amid variables. The air clears of impending charge, thunder silenced by distance and dispersion. Shifting winds maintain a gentle variability, keeping the crew attuned without exertion. Silence softens further, allowing the ship's natural sounds to predominate once more, yet the watchful stance endures. A legacy of survival on unpredictable seas. Imagine this equilibrium, where threat and tranquility coexist in measured harmony. Thunder absent, the focus narrows to wind shifts that guide the voyage's progress. Winds whisper through the rigging, their changes subtle and manageable. Watchful quiet integrates with the day's flow. Vigilance a background hum rather than foreground tension. Crew members exchange quiet confirmations. The all clear, unspoken yet understood. This phase of the daily grind underscores the delicate balance of pirate existence. As the watch continues, distant threats remain hypothetical. Thunder and erratic winds subdued for the moment. Shifting breezes provide variety without disruption. The ship gliding onward in serene adaptation, silence on deck serves as both defense and respite. A quiet that soothes the mind. The ever-present peril fades into familiarity, allowing the narrative of the sea to resume its gentle cadence. As the day's labors ease and the sun dips lower in the sky, the crew descends below decks to the claustrophobic darkness of their sleeping quarters, where hammocks sway gently in neat rows slung between the low beams. The space is shrouded in a perpetual twilight, lit only by the faint glow of a single lantern swinging lastly from a hook, casting elongated shadows that dance with the ship's slow roll. Soft snores begin to emerge from those off watch, low and rhythmic breaths that blend with the constant creaking of timbers. As the vessel moves through the water, wrestling hammocks accompany every shift in position, canvas fabric whispering softly as bodies settle into the confined embrace of their resting places. Imagine yourself here, nestled in this dim sanctuary, the gentle rocking lulling you toward repose amid the shared intimacy of the crew's quarters. The darkness envelops everything below the waterline, a thick velvet that muffles the world above and encourages the eyes to close and surrender. Hammocks creak faintly with each sway, their ropes straining just enough to produce a subdued groan that harmonizes with the hulls. Deeper notes. Snores vary in tone and volume, some deep and steady like distant waves, others lighter and intermittent, weaving a tapestry of human vulnerability. The air hangs heavy with the warmth of many bodies, yet the motion of the ship provides a constant, soothing cradle that rocks the sleepers gently. This claustrophobic haven, though cramped and shadowed, offers a fragile respite from the demands of the deck. Lantern light flickers sporadically, illuminating brief glimpses of bearded faces relaxed in slumber or hands dangling limply over hammock edges. The rocking is perpetual, a maternal rhythm inherited from the ocean itself, easing tensions accumulated through the day's toil. Soft breathing fills the space, a collective exhalation that underscores the shared exhaustion of pirate life in the 17th century. Wrestling occurs when a sleeper turns, the hammock fabric adjusting with a hushed sigh that disturbs no one. Distant creaks from the ship's frame punctuate the quiet, reminders that the vessel lives and breathes around its inhabitants. In this enclosed world, the darkness feels almost protective, shielding the crew from the vastness outside and fostering a sense of communal shelter. Hammocks swing in near unison, their gentle arcs synchronized by the waves, creating a visual lullaby in the low light. Snores rise and fall like tides, some punctuated by occasional murmurs or sighs from dreams of land or plunder. The rocking motion transmits through the canvas, a tactile reassurance that movement continues even in rest. Imagine the closeness of bodies in this space, the boundaries blurred by necessity yet respected in the unspoken code of the sea. The lantern's flame gutters softly, its light insufficient to banish the shadows that cling to every corner and curve of the beams. Gentle rocking persists without pause, the ship's response to the sea's caress translating into a steady, hypnotic sway. Soft snores provide a baseline hum, comforting in their predictability amid the uncertainties of the voyage. Wrestling hammocks mark the settling of late arrivals, canvas folding around forms with quiet acceptance. Creaks echo from above and below, a structural chorus that envelops the quarters in familiar sound. Darkness deepens as the lantern is trimmed lower for the night, conserving oil while preserving just enough glow to navigate the narrow aisles. The rocking becomes the dominant sensation, felt in every fiber as hammocks cradle their occupants like cocoons. Snores intermingle with the faint drip of condensation from the deck above, adding subtle percussion to the ambient hush. Bodies shift occasionally, wrestling fabric, and a brief interruption quickly absorbed back into the calm. This claustrophobic darkness, far from oppressive, serves as a womb-like retreat where weary sailors recharge. Hammocks ain't close enough that the warmth of neighbors is palpable, a shared heat that wards off the chill seeping through the hull. Gentle rocking lulls even the restless, the motion a constant invitation to let go of vigilance. Soft snores evolve into a layered symphony, deeper ones anchoring the lighter, creating depth in the confined air. Distant creaks resonate through the wood, vibrating faintly into the sleeping forms. The quarters, though tight, foster an intimacy born of mutual dependence in this floating microcosm. The lantern sways in time with the ship, its light tracing slow paths across sleeping faces etched with the lines of hard living. Rocking maintains its unhurried pace, a rhythm as reliable as the heartbeat of the sea itself. Snores continue unabated, a testament to the profound fatigue that claims the crew after watches and chores. Wrestling subsides as slumber deepens, hammocks settling into equilibrium with their burdens. Imagine drifting here, the darkness and motion conspiring to ease you into parallel rest. Claustrophobic confines amplify every sound, yet they blend into a cohesive lullaby of creaks, snores, and rustles. The gentle rocking transmits peace through the body, aligning breath with the ocean's pulse. Soft breathing dominates now, snores softening as sleep takes firmer hold across the space. Distant ship sounds filter down, muffled yet present, grounding the quarters in the larger journey. This shared darkness binds the crew, a collective surrender to the night's embrace. Lantern light dims further, shadows merging until only outlines remain visible in the gloom. Hammocks sway in gentle harmony, their rustling reduced to occasional whispers of adjustment. Snores provide a soothing white noise, varied yet constant, masking any minor disturbances. The rocking motion feels eternal, a cradle that rocks generations of sailors through nights at sea. The quarters exude a quiet solidarity, darkness cloaking individual hardships and communal repose. As night fully claims the ship, the darkness becomes absolute save for the lantern's ember-like glow. Gentle rocking persists, the ship's dance with waves in an unending waltz. Soft snores weave through the air, a chorus of recovery in the tight space. Wrestling hammocks fall silent, bodies finally still in deep slumber. Creaks from distant parts add subtle texture, the vessel's voice never fully hushed. The claustrophobic quarters settle into profound quiet, broken only by the essentials of rest and motion. Rocking lulls deeper, inviting even the listener to mirror the crew's descent into sleep. Snores fade in intensity, breathing evening out across the rolls. Distant creaks continue their dialogue with the sea, a background hum of endurance. This sanctuary below decks offers solace in its very constraints, a haven of shadows and sway. Hammocks hold their charges securely, the gentle rocking a universal pacifier amid the perils of piracy. Darkness envelops like a blanket, softening edges and encouraging surrender. Soft snores persist as the primary sound, rhythmic and reassuring in their humanity. Rustling is rare now, peace prevailing in the confined world. Imagine yourself swaying here, the atmosphere drawing you toward tranquil oblivion. The lantern flickers one last time before steadying, its light a faint beacon in the encompassing dark. Rocking maintains its cadence, a motion that transcends the individual's worries. Snores blend into a singular hum, the crew united in rest. Distant creaks echo softly, the ship's ongoing narrative. This claustrophobic darkness, far from confining, liberates the mind for sleep. As the night deepens, the quarters achieve a serene equilibrium, rocking and breathing in unison with the sea. Gentle motion cradles all within. Hammocks mirror extensions of the ocean's embrace. Soft snores and subtle rustles form a lullaby unique to this life. The darkness invites complete relaxation, a shared drift into the restorative depths. As the gentle rocking and soft snores fill the quarters with a sense of weary peace, storytelling begins in hushed tones among those not yet claimed by sleep. Voices low and steady like the distant lapping of waves. Tales of past voyages unfold slowly. Whispered accounts of narrow escapes or bountiful prizes shared to strengthen the fragile bonds. Forged in hardship, hushed conversations drift between hammocks. Fragments of personal histories exchanged in the dim light, revealing glimpses of lives left behind on distant shores. Occasional soft laughter escapes, muffled quickly to avoid waking comrades, a brief spark of warmth in the cool, enclosed air. Imagine yourself swaying nearby, these low voices weaving a tapestry of camaraderie that eases the mind toward deeper relaxation. Stories are passed like treasured relics, each narrator speaking softly to a small circle of listeners hanging in adjacent hammocks. The hushed tone preserves the sanctuary's calm, words chosen carefully to evoke wonder rather than excitement in the claustrophobic space. Conversations touch on shared experiences, storms endured together, or ports visited in better times. Building a quiet solidarity, soft laughter punctuates a well-timed jest, light and fleeting. Dissolving back into the ambient breathing around them, distant ship sounds filter through. Creaks and groans providing a rhythmic underscore to the spoken words. Low voices recount legends of the sea. Tales of ghost ships or hidden islands murmured with reverence in the protective darkness. Storytelling serves as a ritual, drawing the crew closer in their shared discomfort. Voices blending seamlessly with the rocking motion. Hushed exchanges reveal vulnerabilities rarely shown on deck. Confessions of homesickness or dreams of retirement spoken in confidence. Occasional laughter rises softly, a gentle ripple that acknowledges the absurdity of their chosen path. This fragile bond, nurtured in whispers, offers comfort amid the constant uncertainties of pirate life. Conversations shift to practical matters. Plans for the next prize discussed in undertones that respect the sleeping majority. Low voices carry a sense of unity, the act of sharing forging connections stronger than the ropes that bind their hammocks. Soft laughter follows a recounted mishap, the sound warm yet restrained in the intimate quarters. Distant creaks accompany the narrative flow, as if the ship itself listens to the stories of its inhabitants. Imagine the words floating through the air, lulling listeners with their familiar cadence and human warmth. Hushed storytelling continues with accounts of famous captains or daring raids. Details soften to suit the radar and worry audience. Voices remain low, each speaker mindful of the fragile peace that envelops the space. Conversations deepen bonds through mutual understanding, hardships acknowledged in quiet solidarity. Occasional soft laughter breaks the seriousness, a reminder of resilience found in humor amid misery. The rocking hammocks enhance the storytelling's rhythm, swaying in time with rising and falling inflections. Low murmurs explore personal aspiration, dreams of wealth or freedom whispered between trusted mates in the dim glow. The hushed quality of these exchanges creates an atmosphere of trust, essential in a world where betrayal lurks as readily as loyalty. Soft laughter greets exaggerated claims, lightening the weight of shared discomfort without disturbing the slumbering. Distant ship sounds weave through the voices, integrating the tales into the larger symphony of the voyage. This bonding, subtle and sincere, strengthens the crew's cohesion in their confined world. Storytelling wins through memories of land, descriptions of loved ones or favorite taverns shared in soothing, measured tones. Hushed conversations affirm the human connections that persist despite isolation at sea. Occasional laughter, soft and genuine, punctuates poignant moments, balancing sorrow with levity. Low voices carry the weight of experience, each tale a thread in the fabric of their collective identity. Imagine drifting with these narratives, the gentle interplay drawing you into the crew's quiet fraternity. Conversations turn reflective, low voices pondering the choices that led them to this life of freedom and peril. The fragile bond shines in these admissions, vulnerability offered and accepted in the safety of darkness. Soft laughter eases tensions, a shared release that reinforces unity. Distant creaks provide pauses, natural breaks in the flow of hushed words. This storytelling ritual, performed nightly, mends the spirit as effectively as it entertains. Hushed exchanges include songs remembered from childhood, lyrics murmured softly to evoke nostalgia without full voice. Low tones preserve the intimacy, each participant contributing fragments to complete the melody in whispers. Occasional soft laughter follows a forgotten line, the error embraced rather than mocked. The bond grows tangible in these moments, discomfort transformed into something approaching family. The rocking motion syncs with the rhythm of spoken reminiscence, enhancing the soothing quality. Storytelling incorporates elements of superstition, tales of omens or lucky charms passed in reverent low voices. Conversations acknowledge the fears that accompany their trade, shared to diminish their power in the telling. Soft laughter dispels lingering unease, a collective exhale in the cramped quarters. Distant ship sounds blend with the narrative as if affirming the truths woven into fiction. This fragile yet vital connection sustains morale through the long nights. Low voices recount recent events, the day's minor triumphs or frustrations relived in hushed detail. The act of sharing forges understanding, turning individual struggles into communal experience. Occasional laughter, soft and warm, celebrates small victories amid hardship. Hushed quality ensures the peace remains unbroken, stories flowing like a gentle stream. Imagine the comfort derived from these bonds, voices lulling as effectively as the sea itself. Conversations deepen with confessions of doubt or hope, low tones carrying the weight of sincerity in the protective gloom. Soft laughter follows self-deprecating remarks, easing the gravity without dismissal. The fragile bond strengthens through honesty, discomfort, a price willingly paid for connection. Distant creaks punctuate pauses, allowing reflection before the next tale begins. This nightly ritual nourishes the soul in ways rations never could, Hushed storytelling includes improvised yarns. Imaginative flights murmur to entertain and distract from reality. Low voices collaborate on details, building worlds far removed from their wooden confines. Occasional soft laughter rewards clever twists, the sound of bomb in the shared space. The bond, though born of necessity, feels genuine in these creative exchanges. The rocking enhances the dreamlike quality, blurring lines between story and slumber. As the hour grows late, conversations slow. Low voices trailing into contemplative silences filled by snores and creaks. Soft laughter becomes rarer, warmth lingering in the air like fading embers. The fragile connections persist beyond words, a quiet assurance in the darkness. Distant ship sounds dominate once more, integrating the human element into the vessel's eternal motion. This transition marks the storytelling's gentle end, easing all toward rest. Low murmurs fade gradually, the final hushed exchanges giving way to satisfied quietude. Occasional laughter echoes in memory, a remnant of the bond reaffirmed nightly. The crew settles deeper into hammocks, conversations having served their purpose of comfort and unity. Distant creaks and rocking resume. Prominence cradling the quarters in familiar rhythm. Imagine the peace that follows. Voices silenced yet connections enduring. As the storytelling subsides and the quarters settle into deeper quiet, the pungent smells of salt, stale air, and unwashed bodies become more noticeable in the confined space below decks. A stark and ever-present reality of life aboard a 17th century pirate ship. The salt clings to everything, carried in from the sea spray and embedded in clothing and skin after weeks. Without proper washing facilities, stale air hangs heavy, recirculated in the enclosed environment where ventilation is limited to small hatches and cracks in the planking. The scent of human occupancy lingers subtly, a mix of sweat and breath accumulated through shared hardship and close proximity. Imagine yourself here, these aromas blending into a familiar backdrop, neither overwhelming nor offensive in their constancy, but simply part of the rhythm of existence. The salt permeates the hammocks themselves, crystals forming on ropes and canvas from evaporated spray that finds its way below. Stale air carries a faint tang of tar used in sealing the hull, mingling with the natural odors of the crew's daily lives. Unwashed bodies contribute their own note, an earthy reminder of limited fresh water and the priorities of survival over comfort. Subtle ambient hum from the ship's motion stirs these scents gently, preventing stagnation while distributing them evenly. Occasional coughs break the quiet, soft expulsions that release brief puffs into the already thick atmosphere. Pungent traces of the day's meals linger as well, remnants of salted provisions clinging to beards and fingers long after consumption. Salt dominates the olfactory landscape, a constant that ties the crew inexorably to their marine world. Stale air grows warmer with the press of bodies, trapping the various smells in a layered bouquet unique to this enclosed domain. The scent of unwashed wool and leather from belts and jackets adds depth, fabrics rarely dried fully in the damp environment. This stark reality, though unpleasant by land standards, becomes normalized at sea, accepted as the price of freedom. The smells shift subtly with the ship's roll, currents of air moving through the quarters and refreshing pockets momentarily. Salt's sharpness cuts through the heavier notes, a crisp edge provided by the ocean just beyond the hull. Stale air bears the weight of tobacco smoked earlier on deck, faint wisps that have drifted down and settled. Unwashed bodies exhale their warmth, contributing to the intimate, almost familial atmosphere of shared humanity. The subtle hum of the timbers vibrates through as if the ship itself exhales these mingled aromas. Pungent odors intensify slightly as the night deepens, bodies relaxing fully and releasing the day's accumulated scents. Salt encrusts eyelashes and lips, fine layer tasted with every breath in the dry corners of the space. Stale air feels thicker now, laden with the subtle mustiness of damp wood absorbing moisture over time. The reality of unwashed skin is understated, blended into a collective essence that binds rather than repels. Occasional coughs disperse brief disturbances, quickly reabsorb into the ambient mix. The salt scent strengthens when a hatch is briefly open above. A rush of briny air reminding all of the source. Stale air below retains its character. Preserved microclimate distinct from the fresh winds on deck. Unwashed bodies settle into hammocks, their odors mingling with the canvas's own faint mildew from constant humidity. Subtle ambient sounds mask any sharpness, creaks and snores harmonizing with the olfactory constancy. This stark blend defines the pirate's world below, unvarnished and enduring. Pungent traces of gunpowder from recent practice or skirmishes linger in clothing, adding an acrid undertone to the salt and staleness. The air, though stale, carries no true foulness, just the honest accumulation of labor and proximity. Unwashed forms radiate subtle warmth, scents rising gently in the confined heat. Occasional soft shifts in hammocks stir the mixture, redistributing without disruption. Imagine the familiarity breeding indifference. These smells as comforting in their predictability as the rocking motion. Salt's omnipresence coats the tongue faintly, a taste smells synergy in the enclosed quarters. Stale air preserves the day as echo smoke from the galley, oil from lanterns all soften into the background. The pungent reality of bodies in close quarters fosters acceptance, a shared condition that equalizes captain and crew alike. Subtle hum from the hull blends with the scents, creating a multisensory immersion. Coughs are infrequent, mild reactions to the dry salt particles suspended in the air. The smells weave into dreams for some, evoking memories of ports or battles through olfactory triggers. Salt remains the dominant note, a thread connecting every breath to the sea's vastness. Stale air cradles these pungencies gently, preventing anyone from dominating unduly. Unwashed bodies contribute naturally, this sense a mark of resilience rather than neglect. This stark atmosphere, though humble, supports the fragile peace of the sleeping quarters. Pungent odors settle with the crew, becoming part of the lullaby that includes creaks and breathing. Salt clings persistently, a reminder of the element that both sustains and challenges them. Stale air envelops like a blanket, thick yet protective in its familiarity. The reality of shared humanity manifests here, unwashed yet united in purpose. Occasional coughs fade into the mix, harmless punctuation in the quiet night. The ambient hum rises faintly from the waterline, stirring scents in slow circulation. Salt's crisp edge balances the heavier notes of stale air and human presence. Pungent traces evoke the day's effort to rope tar on hands. Smoke and air all integrated seamlessly. Unwashed bodies rest fully now, their odors subdued in slumber. This stark sensory world below decks offers its own form of comfort through constancy. Smells linger without demand, allowing the mind to drift amid their subtle presence. Salt permeates deeply, an inescapable signature of maritime life. Stale air holds the quarters in gentle stasis, preserving the mingled aromas. The pungent reality fades into background, noticed only in contrast to rare fresh breezes. Subtle coughs diminish entirely, peace prevailing in the olfactory embrace. Pungent scents blend into a singular atmosphere, salt and staleness and humanity indistinguishable. The air, though thick, supports deep breathing and deeper rest. Unwashed forms contribute without intrusion. Part of the shared tapestry, occasional ambient sounds mask any sharpness. Harmonizing the experience, imagine surrendering to this. The smells as soothing and familiarity as the sway. As night wears on, the pungent mix stabilizes, a constant companion in the darkness. Salt anchors every inhalation, tying the crew to their chosen element. Stale air cradles the subtleties, softening edges in the confined space. The stark truth of their condition becomes a lullaby of endurance. This completes the immersion below decks, easing toward the tensions that await in the shadows. As the peaceful rhythm of the sleeping quarters lingers in our minds, we gently ascend to the deck where night has fully claimed the ship, amplifying the low, ominous creaks and groans of the hull as it flexes against the dark swells. Timbers speak in deep, resonant tones, each groan drawn out like a slow exhale from the depths of the vessel itself. echoing through the empty spaces below and above. Water laps distantly against the sides, a subdued murmur that underscores the solitude of the midnight watch. Wind howls softly through the rigging high overhead, threading between ropes and sails in a mournful whisper that rises and falls with the breeze. Imagine yourself standing amidships in this quiet hour, the deep hull creaks enveloping you, heightened by the ever-present fear of the unknown lurking beyond the circle of lantern light. The hull's groans deepen with each larger swell, we're protesting gently against the pressure of the sea in a language ancient and unhurried. Creaks cascade from bow to stern, a sequential chorus that reveals the ship's living nature even in darkness. Distant water sounds blend seamlessly, the ocean's voice muffled yet persistent against the planking. Wind continues its low howl aloft, tugging at loose canvas edges and producing faint harmonic notes in the lines. This nocturnal symphony, ominous yet familiar, stirs the subconscious anxieties of mutiny or pursuit that every pirate carries. Ominous creaks emerge from the lower holds, amplified by the night's stillness and the absence of daytime activity to mask them. The hull shifts subtly, each groan a reminder of the vessel's vulnerability to the forces that surround it. Wind howls and gusts now, rising to a brief crescendo before subsiding into a steady moan. Water laps with quiet insistence, its distant rhythm a counterpoint to the deeper structural sounds. Fear of the unknown manifests in these amplified noises, turning ordinary ship sounds into potential harbingers. Deep hull creaks resonate through the deck planks, felt as much as heard in the soles of bare feet on watch. The timbers groan in response to unseen pressures, a slow dialogue between wood and water carried out in the dark. Wind's howl threads through the masts, the lonely sound that emphasizes the isolation of the open sea at night. Distant water provides a constant undercurrent, lapping softly yet relentlessly against the ship's sides. This atmosphere of amplified sound nurtures the quiet dread that accompanies every voyage. The low creaks build gradually, one giving way to another in a chain that travels the length of the vessel. Ominous tones linger in the air, each groan stretching longer in the absence of competing noises. Wind howls with varying intensity, gusts carrying hints of distant storms or simply the vast emptiness around. Water sounds remain distant, a subdued reminder of the abyss just beyond the hull's protection. Imagine the night watch listening intently, every creak a potential signal in the tense quiet. All groans subside momentarily, only to return with renewed depth as the ship rides another swell. Creaks echo hollowly in the empty spaces below, magnified by the enclosed darkness. Wind's persistent howl aloft adds a layer of melancholy, the rigging singing its nocturnal song. Distant lapping water maintains its gentle cadence, a soothing element amid the more foreboding sounds. Fear of the unknown amplifies each note, turning routine flexing into something more sinister. Ominous creaks from the stern accompany the rudder's subtle movements, deep and deliberate in the quiet hours. The hull responds as one organism, groans rippling outward from points of stress. Wind howls through openings in the sails, producing brief, eerie whistles that fade quickly. Water laps far below the deck, its sound muffled by distance and the ship's bulk. This interplay of sounds creates a backdrop of subdued tension, the night alive with possibility. Deep groans emerge from the bilge, where water sloshes faintly against the lowest timbers. Creaks cascade upward, each one distinct yet part of the greater whole. Wind's howl softens at times, allowing the hull's voice to dominate momentarily. Distant water sounds persist, a constant reminder of the element that both carries and threatens the ship. The fear of unseen dangers heightens every auditory detail in this watchful hour. The low creaks continue their slow progression, mapping the ship's structure and sound during the darkest watch. Ominous undertones linger, born of the knowledge that wood can fail or enemies approach unseen. Wind howls in sustained notes, the breeze steady yet unpredictable in direction. Water laps with unchanging rhythm, distant yet ever-present against the hull. Imagine standing sentinel, these sounds your only companions in the enveloping night. Hull groans deepen as the ship settles into a trough between waves, the release producing a long, drawn-out sigh. Creaks follow in sequence, a structural heartbeat made audible in the stillness. Wind's howl carries faint echoes of itself, bouncing between sails and spars. Distant water maintains its subdued conversation with the vessel, lapping softly in endless repetition. This nocturnal chorus, ominous in its amplification, nurtures the quiet anxieties of the sea. Ominous creaks from the mainmast area resonate downward, but adjusting to the wind's pressure high above. The hull absorbs and transmits these sounds, groaning in sympathy throughout its frame. Wind howls with renewed vigor in a passing gust, then settles back to a steady moan. Water sounds remain distant, a gentle counterbalance to the deeper structural notes. Fear of the unknown transforms familiar noises into potential warnings. Deep groans echo from the bow, where the ship meets the sea most directly, each impact translated into sound. Creaks travel aft in waves, mapping the vessel's response to its environment. Wind's persistent howl aloft provides a high counterpoint to the low timbers. Distant lapping water offers continuity, its rhythm unchanging amid the varying creaks. This soundscape of the night watch blends comfort with caution. The low creaks subside briefly, leaving only the wind's howl and distant water in the interim quiet. But groans return inevitably, deep and reassuring in their predictability despite ominous tones. Wind threads through the rigging, producing subtle variations in pitch. Water laps softly below, a constant that grounds the more variable sounds. Imagine the tension of listening. Every creak weighed for significance. Ominous creaks build again as the ship climbs another swell, the ascent drawing prolonged groans from stressed timbers. The hull flexes visibly in moonlight, each movement accompanied by sound. Wind howls and accompaniment, gusts adding emphasis to the structural chorus. Distant water sounds grow marginally closer during the rise, then recede once more. This cyclical amplification mirrors the night's underlying fears. Deep hull creaks settle into a steady pattern, the ship finding equilibrium in the dark swells. Wind's howl softens gradually, allowing the timbers to speak more clearly. Water laps with quiet persistence, distant yet intimate in its constancy. The ominous quality fades slightly with familiarity. Though never fully absent, the night continues its watchful vigil, sounds weaving a tapestry of tension and tranquility. As the deep creaks of the hull continue their nocturnal dialogue with the sea, a distant sail is spotted on the darkened horizon, prompting nervous shuffling among the night watch as feet shift uneasily on the deck planks. The sighting, faint at first in the moonlight, stirs a ripple of quiet concern that spreads through hushed whispers carried on the cool breeze. Quickened heartbeats become almost palpable in the taut silence. The crew's pulse is sensing with the subtle acceleration of breath. As eyes strain toward the unknown shape, hushed anxieties emerge in murmured speculations, friend, foe, merchant, or Navy voices kept low to avoid alarming those below. Imagine yourself at the rail, the nervous energy subtle yet undeniable, as the distant sail holds the potential to shatter the night's fragile calm. Shuffling feet move toward vantage points, bare soles scraping softly against the wood in restrained urgency. Whispers pass from watcher to watcher, fragments of observation shared in tones barely above the wind's sigh. Heartbeats quicken among the alerted, private rhythm felt in chests as the implications of the sighting sink in. The distant sail grows marginally clearer with each passing minute, its outline teasing the boundaries of perception. This moment of discovery transforms the deck from quiet vigil to contained alertness. Anxieties hushed but deeply felt. Nervous shuffling subsides into stillness as the crew holds position, feet planted firmly while minds race through possibilities. Hushed whispers convey orders or questions, the quartermaster's voice a calm anchor amid the undercurrent of worry. Quickened pulses throb in ears, amplifying the ship's own sounds in the tense interval. The distant sail remains enigmatic, neither approaching nor receding swiftly, prolonging the suspense. Distant lookout calls finally break the immediate hush, a low announcement that confirms the sighting without raising full alarm. Feet shuffle again in minor adjustments, sailors repositioning for better views without unnecessary noise. Whispers circulate with increased frequency, anxieties voiced in careful phrases that acknowledge the risks of encounter. Heartbeats maintain their elevated cadence, a shared physiological response to the uncertainty ahead. Hushed tones preserve discipline, speculations tempered by the knowledge that panic serves no one at sea. Imagine the deck alive with subdued motion, the nervous energy channeled into watchful patience. Shuffling becomes more purposeful as lookouts climb the rigging slowly, feet finding familiar holds in the dark. Whispers below relay updates, each piece of information weighed for its implications on the voyage. Quickened heartbeats echo the thrill of potential prize or peril, the duality inherent in pirate existence. The distant sail catches a glint of moon, revealing more of its profile and fueling quiet debate. This interplay of movement and murmur defines the response to unexpected sightings in the night. Nervous feet pace short paths along the deck, energy contained and small. Repetitive steps that disturb little. Hushed anxieties find outlet in whispered prayers or curses, expressions of the human frailty beneath hardened exteriors. Heartbeats pound softly, a reminder of lives hanging in the balance with every distant horizon. Distant lookout calls provide sparse updates, each one absorbed into the collective tension. The sail's intent remains unclear, drawing out the moment of nervous anticipation. Shuffling halts as the crew awaits further clarity, feet rooted in place amid the gentle roll of the ship. Whispers weave a web of contingency plans, voices low and deliberate in their caution. Quick impulses begin to steady slightly, habituated to the weight that often accompanies such sightings. Hushed concerns linger, the possibility of pursuit or battle never far from thought. Imagine gripping the rail, the subtle vibrations of shuffling feet transmitting through the wood. Feet shift weight from one to the other, nervous energy manifesting in these small, unconscious movements. Whispers carry reassurances or warnings, the crew bolstering one another in subdued tones. Heartbeats remain elevated, fueling heightened senses attuned to every change in the distant form. The lookout's call rings out again, distant yet clear, adjusting the ship's course subtly to observe or evade. This nervous interlude stretches time, each minute laden with quiet dread. Shuffling resumes faintly as positions are adjusted for prolonged watching, feet padding softly in the moonlight. Hushed whispers evolve into strategic murmurs, anxieties tempered by preparation. Quickened heartbeats sync with the ship's motion, a unified response to potential threat. The distant sail drifts laterally, perhaps harmless, yet the caution persists undiminished. The deck hums with restrained activity, nervous yet controlled. Nervous shuffling quiets as focus sharpens, feet stilling to minimize distraction. Whispers reduced to essential communications, anxieties internalized in the watchful stance. Heartbeats throb steadily, a drumbeat of vigilance in the chest. Distant calls from aloft provide ongoing narration, guiding the crew's hushed reactions. Imagine the tension coiling gently, the unknown sail a catalyst for subdued unease. Feet remain planted as the sighting is monitored closely, shuffling only when necessary for relief. Hushed anxieties surface in brief exchanges, voices conveying the weight of possible outcomes. Quick impulses ease marginally with the passage of time, unmarked by aggression. The distant sail begins to fade slightly, perhaps a trick of light or actual divergence. This gradual resolution tempers the nervous energy without fully dispelling it. Shuffling feet signal minor relaxations, the immediate concern waning as distance grows. Whispers convey relief in measured tones, anxieties receding like the sail itself. Heartbeats slow toward normalcy. The bodies return to equilibrium after the alert. Distant lookout calls confirm the lessening. Threat, a final note in the episode. The deck settles back into routine watchfulness. The nervous moment absorbed into memory. Nervous energy dissipates gradually, feet resuming ordinary patrols with less urgency. Hushed whispers linger on the event, processing the close call in quiet reflection. Quickened heartbeats fade, entirely leaving only the ship's natural rhythms. The distant sail vanishes from view, Another phantom of the night resolved peacefully. Imagine the release of tension, the deck returning to its ominous calm. Shuffling becomes languid once more, feet moving without haste in the aftermath. Whispers trail off, anxieties folded back into the broader uncertainties of the sea. Heartbeats normalize fully. The episode of brief spike in the night's steady pulse, distant calls subside. The lookout resuming silent vigil. This nervous response, swift yet contained, exemplifies the pirate's precarious balance. Feet settle into stillness again, the shuffling of fleeting disturbance in the dark. Hushed anxieties dissolve, replaced by the familiar weight of ongoing watch. Quickened pulses become a memory. Vitality restored to quiet readiness. The distant sail, now gone, leaves only the echo of its potential. The night reclaims its subdued rhythm, tension eased for the present. As the distant sail fades into the night and the nervous tension eases once more into watchful quiet, the crew stands in the taut silence that precedes any decision, waiting orders that could steer them toward pursuit, evasion, or a continued course. The deck holds its collective breath, the air thick with unspoken possibilities as the captain or quartermaster weighs the risks in measured deliberation. Sudden violence hangs as a potential outcome, the crew ready to spring into action should the word come to arm or maneuver. Swift capture remains another shadow, the threat of naval forces or superior firepower ever present in these lawless waters. Imagine yourself among them, the taut silence pressing close, every creak and whisper amplified in this suspended moment of potential upheaval. Orders, when they finally come, are delivered in sharp commands that cut cleanly through the stillness. Voices firm yet controlled to maintain order without panic. The crew responds with practiced efficiency, hands moving to lines or weapons as the situation demands. Taut silence shatters gradually, replaced by the focused sounds of preparation should violence erupt. Potential for sudden confrontation looms, lives poised on the edge of conflict or reprieve. Distant cannon fire, though absent now, echoes in memory as a possibility that could shatter the night at any moment. The awaiting stretches taut silence, a discipline that prevents rash action in the face of uncertainty. Sharp commands remain poised on lips, ready to direct the ship's fate with precision. Sudden violence could erupt in an instant, blades drawn or guns primed in the moonlit gloom. Swift capture threatens from the shadows, irons and imprisonment the consequence of miscalculation. This tension held in check defines the precarious balance of pirate existence on the high seas. Silence remains taut as observations continue, the crew's stillness a form of readiness in itself. Orders hover unspoken, the leadership assessing shadows and sails with calm calculation. Potential violence simmers beneath the surface, the crew's history of brutality tempered by the need for survival. Distant echoes of past cannon fire linger in thought, a reminder of how quickly peace can dissolve. Imagine the deck frozen in this interlude, every breath measured against the unknown. Sharp commands finally issue forth when clarity arrives, directing a subtle change in course or heightened vigilance. The taut silence yields to purposeful movement, feet and hands responding without hesitation. Sudden violence averted for now, yet the readiness persists like a coiled spring. Swift capture recedes as an immediate threat, though never fully banished from consideration. This measured response preserves the ship's fragile harmony amid peril. Awaiting further signs, the silence regains its taut quality, the crew resuming their poised watch. Orders integrate seamlessly into the routine, sharp yet sparing in their delivery. Potential for violence fades slightly, the moment passing without bloodshed. Distant cannon fire remains hypothetical, a sound not heard this night but always possible. The deck settles into vigilant calm, tension released yet ever renewable. Taut silence envelops the ship once more, a blanket that muffles even the winds howl temporarily. Sharp commands echo briefly in memory, their authority reaffirmed in the quiet obedience. Sudden violence lurks as an option held in reserve for unmistakable provocation. Swift capture's specter diminishes with distance, the unknown sail no longer a direct concern. Imagine the relief subtle yet profound, the awaiting resolve without catastrophe. The crew disperses slowly, taut silence giving way to subdued murmurs of reflection. Orders have guided them through the uncertainty, sharp directives now complete. Potential violence dissolves into the night. Another averted clash in a life full of them, distant cannon fire, imagined rather than real, fades from immediate thought. This episode reinforces the delicate equilibrium maintained aboard. Silence regains its taut edge as the watch continues, lessons from the sighting absorbed quietly. Sharp commands linger as a model of decisive leadership in crisis. Sudden violence remains a tool, wielded judiciously to avoid unnecessary loss. Swift capture threatens perpetually, a consequence that sharpens every decision. The night deepens, the tension woven back into the fabric of routine vigilance. Awaiting the next horizon, the taut silence becomes a companion rather than an adversary. Orders, when needed again, will come with the same sharp clarity. Potential for sudden confrontation ebbs, the sea reclaiming its indifferent vastness. Distant sounds of conflict stay absent, preserving the fragile peace. Imagine standing in this restored calm, awaiting a constant yet manageable state. Sharp commands for minor adjustments punctuate the quiet occasionally, maintaining course with precision. Taut silence accommodates these interruptions gracefully, the crew attuned to their necessity. Sudden violence averted breeds quiet gratitude, though readiness never wanes. Swift captures, risk recedes further, the ship slipping through the dark unmolested. This interplay of tension and release sustains the voyage. The deck holds its taut silence as the moon climbs higher, illuminating the sea in silver patches. Orders integrate into the night's rhythm, sharp yet infrequent. Potential violence sleeps for now, a force contained within the crew's discipline. Distant cannon fire remains a phantom, unheard and unneeded. The awaiting evolves into acceptance, peril acknowledged but not embraced. Silence remains taut yet bearable, a discipline that protects as much as it constrains. Sharp commands guide subtly, preserving energy for true emergencies. Sudden violence and swift capture hover at the edges, possibilities that define the pirate's world. Distant threats dissolve into the horizon, leaving only the present calm. Imagine the equilibrium achieved. Tension a subtle undercurrent rather than dominant force. As the watch progresses, taut silence softens imperceptibly, the immediate crisis past. Orders have served their purpose, sharp tools laid aside until required. Potential for upheaval lingers, eternally a shadow over every voyage. Distant cannon fire echoes only in cautionary tales shared. Below, this resolution allows the night to flow onward toward the eventual peace of anchorage. The crew breathes easier within the lingering taut silence, the sighting process and filed away. Sharp commands fade into memory, their effectiveness proven once more. Sudden violence withheld maintains strength for future needs. Swift capture avoided strengthens. Resolve, another narrow escape in a string of many. The deck returns to its ominous quiet, enriched by survival. As the tensions of the night watch gently recede and the ship finds safe harbor in a quiet cove, the soothing, repetitive motion of gentle rocking at anchor resumes, cradling the vessel like a child in the arms of the sea. The swells here are mild and predictable, lifting and lowering the hull in a slow, unhurried rhythm that transmits through every timber and rope. Soft lapping waves caress the sides with tender persistence. Their sound a hushed whisper that rises and falls in perfect harmony with the ship's sway. Distant crickets from the nearby shore add faint, intermittent chirps, carried across the water on the cool evening breeze. Imagine yourself on deck now, the gentle swaying easing away the remnants of the day's perils, as the cove's sheltered waters offer a rare moment of true serenity. Rocking is steady and reassuring, each rise and fall a reminder of the ocean's nurturing side after its more demanding moods. Waves lap softly below the rail, foam-tipped edges brushing the hull before retreating in endless repetition. The motion rocks hammocks below and bodies above, aligning breath and heartbeat with this ancient cadence. Crickets sing from hidden places along the tree-lined shore, Their distant calls a gentle thread connecting sea to land. This peaceful anchorage allows the ship to rest fully, its creaks soften into contented sighs. Gentle swaying continues without variation, the anchor chain occasionally giving a faint clink as it adjusts to the subtle pull. Soft lapping fills the air with liquid tranquility, waves arriving in measured intervals that invite deep relaxation. Coast calm reflects the moon in shattered silver, mirroring the ship's own gentle movements. Distant crickets provide a natural chorus, their chirp sparse and soothing in the warm night air. Imagine leaning against the mast, the repetitive motion dissolving lingering worries into the water. The rocking lulls the entire vessel, timbers flexing just enough to produce low, comforting hums that blend with the waves. Lapping sounds grow even softer in the protected bay, each wave a tender kiss against the weathered planks. Swaying hammocks below swing in unison, cradling the off-watch crew toward deeper slumber. Cricket's distant song ebbs and flows with the breeze, adding layers to the ambient peace. This soothing rhythm marks the journey's temporary pause, a respite earned through trials at sea. Waves lap with unwavering gentleness, their sound a constant yet undemanding presence around the anchored ship. The repetitive motion rocks you subtly forward and back in a pattern as old as seafaring itself. Soft creaks accompany each tilt, the hull settling into the cove's embrace with quiet acceptance. Distant crickets chirp in irregular harmony, their voices carried farther by the still water. The night feels enveloping here, the swaying a perfect mediator between wakefulness and sleep. Gentle rocking persists through the hours, the ship's mast responding gracefully to the mild swells filtering into the cove. Soft lapping waves create a perimeter of sound, insulating the vessel from the open sea's memories. The motion transmits peace through the deck, felt in the soles of feet and the core of the body. Crickets from shore continue their faint serenade, a reminder of land's proximity without its demands. Imagine the anchor holding firm below, allowing this luxurious stillness amid motion. The swaying is hypnotic, each cycle drawing the mind deeper into relaxation as the cove works its quiet magic. Waves lap tenderly, their foam dissolving harmlessly against the hull in rhythmic kisses. Distant crickets provide subtle punctuation, their chirps blending with the water's whisper. Soft creaks from the rigging add depth, lines shifting slightly in the breeze without urgency. This repetitive calm soothes the spirit, contrasting the perils faced beyond the headlands. Rocking continues its soothing dance, the ship floating in equilibrium with the sheltered waters. Lapping sounds envelop the senses, soft and persistent like a lullaby composed by the sea itself. Gentle motion aligns with breathing, encouraging slower, deeper inhalations in the tranquil air. Crickets sing distantly, their song a fragile bridge to the unseen shore. Cove holds the vessel in perfect balance, swaying without effort or strain. Waves maintain their soft lapping, each arrival and retreat a note in the night's gentle symphony. The repetitive rocking cradles thoughts, allowing them to drift lazily like the ship itself. Distant crickets fade in and out, carried on breezes that barely stir the sails. Soft creaks resonate through the deck, familiar and reassuring in their mildness. Imagine surrendering to this motion, the day's tensions dissolving with every sway. Gentle swaying rocks the lanterns hung about the deck, their light tracing slow arcs across the planking. Lapping waves sound closer in the quiet, yet remain comforting in their subdued volume. The motion feels maternal, protective in this hidden cove far from storms and pursuits. Crickets' distant calls weave through the ambient hush, adding wilderness to the maritime peace. This soothing repetition invites complete release, body and mind yielding to the rhythm. The rocking is ceaseless yet serene, the anchors hold granting freedom from forward progress. Soft lapping creates a cocoon of sound, insulating the crew from the world's sharper edges. Gentle motion transmits through every fiber, easing muscles weary from labor and watch. Distant crickets provide a living soundtrack, their chirps soft echoes of life beyond the waves. The ship rests fully here, swaying in perfect attunement with its surroundings. Waves lap with tender consistency, the sound of balm after the open ocean's louder voices. Repetitive rocking lulls the senses, each cycle drawing you closer to profound calm. Soft creaks accompany the tilt, the hull expressing contentment in low tones. Crickets sing from the dark shore, distant yet present in the night's fabric. Imagine the cove as a sanctuary, its gentle motion healing the spirit incrementally. Gentle swaying persists into the deeper night, the ship's rhythm unchanging and reliable. Lapping waves maintain their quiet dialogue with the hull, soft and intimate. The motion rocks streams into being below decks. Cradling sleepers in secure embrace, distant crickets continue their faint performance, a natural counterpoint to the water's whisper. This peaceful anchorage offers restoration, swaying without demand or disturbance. Rocking continues its soothing work, waves lapping in perfect synchrony below. The repetitive motion feels eternal in the cove's protection, time softened by the gentle rise and fall. Soft sounds blend seamlessly, creaks, laps, distant chirps, all contributing to tranquility. The ship floats in harmony, swaying as one with the sheltered sea. Imagine drifting here, the rhythm carrying you toward complete surrender. The gentle rocking and soft lapping weave together, creating an enveloping peace that permeates every corner. Distant crickets fade gradually as the night deepens, their song giving way to pure maritime calm. Repetitive motion lulls even the most restless, aligning body with the ancient pulse of tides. Soft creaks diminish further, the vessel fully at ease in its mooring. This journey's end in the cove brings true respite, swaying towards slumber's shore. As the gentle rocking at anchor continues to soothe the ship into a state of weary but peaceful exhaustion, the crew begins settling down for the night. Their movements slow and unhurried after a long day at sea. Soft snores emerge gradually from the hammocks below, starting as isolated breaths that deepen into a collective rhythm matching the cove's subtle sway. Gentle movements accompany the final preparations, lanterns trimmed low, belongings stowed securely, and bodies easing into rest with quiet sighs. Distant calls from the night watch drift faintly across the deck, low assurances that vigilance persists even as the majority surrenders to sleep. Imagine yourself descending the companionway, the sounds of settling enveloping you like a warm blanket, inviting complete relaxation in this sheltered haven. The crew's exhaustion is palpable, earned through chores and watches. Now released in the safety of the cove, soft snores grow in number, weaving a tapestry of human repose that blends seamlessly with the lapping waves. Gentle movements in hammocks mark the last adjustments, canvas rustling faintly before stillness prevails. Distant calls from the anchor watch reassure without intrusion, their tone calm and measured in the quiet night. This worried peace settles over the ship, a hard-won tranquility after the perils of open water. Snores deepen below decks, some resonant and steady, others lighter and intermittent, creating layers of sound in the dim quarters. Gentle movements subside as sleep claims more of the crew, the day's labors finally set aside. The ship's peaceful exhaustion mirrors that of its inhabitants, timbers creaking softly in sympathy with relaxing forms. Distant calls punctuate the night sparingly, the watchman's voice a thread of continuity amid the growing hush. Imagine the hammocks filled with recumbent figures, their settling a gradual drift toward profound rest. Bodies sink deeper into canvas slings, soft snores rising like a gentle tide in the confined space. Movements become minimal, only the occasional shift for comfort disturbing the emerging calm. Exhaustion manifests in the quick onset of slumber, the crew's resilience rewarded in this protected anchorage. Distant calls from deck carry reassurance, low and infrequent to preserve the settling peace. The night embraces the ship fully, it sounds a lullaby of recovery and renewal. Soft snores dominate the auditory landscape below, a chorus born of genuine fatigue after relentless routines. Gentle movements in the rigging above echo the hammock's final adjustments, lines settling with faint creaks. Peaceful exhaustion permeates every corner, the cove's calm amplifying the sense of release. Distant calls fade into the background, their necessity acknowledged yet unobtrusive in the serene environment. This collective settling draws the entire vessel into harmony with the night's restorative intent. The crew's weary forms relax fully, soft snores blending with the distant crickets in a layered nocturne. Gentle movements cease almost entirely, sleep's grip firming across the quarters. Exhaustion, long held at bay by duty, now claims its due in the safety of the anchorage. Distant calls from the watch serve as gentle reminders of ongoing protection. Voiced softly against the encroaching quiet, imagine the profound peace that follows, bodies and minds yielding to the night's embrace. Snores vary in timbre, creating a rich, soothing hum that fills the space below decks. Gentle swaying continues to rock the sleepers, enhancing the depth of their repose. Peaceful exhaustion is evident in the rapidity of surrender, the crew's hardiness tempered by this moment of vulnerability. Distant calls drift down occasionally, low murmurs that integrate seamlessly into the ambient calm. The ship itself seems to exhale, settling deeper into the cove's nurturing hold. Weary limbs grow heavy in hammocks, soft snores marking the transition from wakefulness to dream. Movements are rare now, only the subtle rise and fall of chests disturbing the stillness. Exhaustion releases its hold on consciousness, allowing true rest in the sheltered waters. Distant calls maintain their vigilant rhythm, yet their tone conveys tranquility rather than alert. This settling process unfolds gradually, a communal drift toward complete rejuvenation. Soft snores interweave with the lapping waves filtering through open hatches, a harmonious blend of human and natural elements. Gentle movements of the ship enhance the cradling effect, rocking the crew into deeper slumber. Peaceful exhaustion softens features and eases breaths, the day's trials receding like the tide. Distant calls from the night watch remain reassuringly sparse, preserving the atmosphere of surrender. Imagine yourself among them, the weary peace drawing you inexorably toward sleep's horizon. The crew settles fully now, soft snores a steady undercurrent in the quiet quarters. Gentle exhaustion manifests in relaxed postures, bodies finally free from the demands of sail and watch. Movements diminish to nothing, the ship and its inhabitants united in repose. Distant calls fade further into the night, their presence felt more than heard in the profound calm. This peaceful state, earned through endurance, offers the deepest form of restoration. Snores grow more uniform, the crew's collective breathing sensing with the gentle rock of the vessel. Weary peace envelops the space, exhaustion transformed into contentment in the cove's safety. Gentle movements are memories now, replaced by the stillness of deep sleep. Distant calls serve as the final thread of awareness, low and comforting in their infrequency. The night deepens this settling, cradling all aboard in its gentle grasp. Soft snores provide a soothing white noise, masking any minor disturbances from wind or wave. Exhaustion's release is complete, the crew's resilience rewarded with untroubled rest. Peaceful settling extends even to the watch, their distant calls softened by the shared fatigue. Gentle rocking continues its work, lulling the last holdouts into slumber's domain. Imagine the profound quiet that follows, a weary but satisfied hush. Crew's weary exhaustion peaks in this moment of total surrender. Soft snores the primary sound below. Gentle movements have ceased entirely, bodies align with the ship's peaceful rhythm. Distant calls drift like echoes, reassuring without demanding attention. Peace envelops the anchorage, the day's end marked by this communal drift into night. This settling signals true respite, a pause in the endless cycle of sea life. Snores deepen further, exhaustion claiming every corner of the ship in its gentle way. Peaceful settling creates an atmosphere of profound calm, the cove amplifying the effect. Gentle sounds blend snores lapse. Distant calls all contributing to restoration. Weary bodies recharge in the safety of anchorage, ready for whatever dawn may bring. The night holds them tenderly, exhaustion yielding to renewal. Soft snores and distant calls intertwine faintly, the crew fully settled into weary peace. Gentle exhaustion fades into the background, replaced by the quiet vitality of sleep. Movements are absent now, the ship itself embodying stillness amid motion. The peaceful night watch continues its vigil, allowing the majority this gift of rest. Imagine drifting with them, the sounds guiding you toward your own deep slumber. As the crew settles fully into their hammocks and the soft snores create a steady, comforting hum throughout the quarters, the sounds of the ship and the cove begin their slow, gradual fade into the deepest part of the night. The gentle lapping of waves against the hull becomes ever more distant, softening into a faint whisper that blends seamlessly with the quiet breathing all around. Prolonged gentle waves continue their rhythmic caress, each one arriving with less insistence than the last, as if the sea itself is exhaling and drifting towards stillness. The distant wind chimes of rigging and loose lines high above gradually diminish, their faint metallic tinkling absorbed by the heavy night air. Imagine yourself lying in one of those swaying hammocks now, fading sounds wrapping around you like a warm, familiar blanket, gently carrying your thoughts further and further from wakefulness. Prolonged waves lap with increasing subtlety, their sound retreating into a barely perceptible murmur that seems to come from very far away. Each gentle rise and fall of the ship grows softer, the motion itself becoming almost imperceptible as the cove holds the vessel in perfect equilibrium. Soft snores from the crew begin to space themselves further apart, individual breaths merging into a single unified rhythm of collective sleep. The distant wind chimes fade to occasional isolated notes, tiny, silver sounds that appear and disappear like fireflies in the dark. This slow dissolution of auditory layers invites the mind to let go one gentle sound at a time until only the deepest peace remains. Waves continue their prolonged, languid lapping, now so soft they might be mistaken for the pulse of your own heartbeat. The ship's gentle rocking has become a memory more than a sensation, cove cradling the hull so securely that movement feels optional rather than constant. Faint snores drift in and out of awareness, their cadence slowing as sleep deepens across the quarters. Distant wind chimes ring once, twice, then nothing, the breeze having found gentler paths through the rigging. Imagine allowing each fading sound to carry away one more thought, one more fragment of the day, until nothing remains but calm, empty space. The lapping grows ever more distant, prolonged waves arriving with such tenderness that they barely register as separate events anymore. The entire soundscape begins to merge into a single soft wash of quiet waves, snores, creaks, and chimes, all blending into an indistinct, comforting hum. The ship's motion has settled into near immobility, the anchor holding firm while the water rocks the vessel with the lightest possible touch. Distant wind chimes have fallen completely silent now, leaving only the profound hush of a ship at perfect rest. This gradual fading creates room for your own breathing to slow, to match the quiet rhythm that surrounds you. Prolonged gentle waves persist as the last audible element, their sound so faint it feels like a memory of water rather than actual movement. Snores have softened to the point they are felt more than heard, a subtle vibration in the air rather than distinct sounds. Cove's embrace is complete, the ship suspended in a pocket of absolute tranquility where even the night itself seems to hold its breath. Imagine your eyelids growing heavier with every passing second, the fading waves pulling you deeper, deeper into the velvet dark where nothing needs to be done, nothing needs to be known. The waves continue their slow, almost inaudible lapping, each one further apart, each one quieter than the one before. The ship's gentle rocking has become indistinguishable from stillness, the boundary between motion and rest dissolving completely. All other sounds, snores, creaks, distant chimes have receded so far they exist only as the faintest suggestion of presence. The night has become vast and empty in the most comforting way, a wide, silent space in which the mind can finally float free. Imagine allowing yourself to drift completely now, carried on the last, lingering echoes of those gentle waves. Prolonged lapping fades towards silence, the water's voice softening until it is barely a suggestion against the hull. The cove holds everything in perfect suspension, the ship no longer rocking so much as simply existing in harmonious balance with its surroundings. The crew's breathing has become so even, so quiet that it merges with the night itself. All distant sounds have vanished entirely, leaving only the profound, enveloping hush of deep night. This final fading invites total surrender, every last thread of awareness gently unraveling. The waves have become so soft, so prolonged, that they are now little more than a feeling rather than a sound of subtle rise and fall that exists mostly in memory. The ship rests motionless in the cove's protective arms, its timbers silent, its rigging still. The snores have faded to nothing, the crew lost in the deepest layers of restorative sleep. No wind chimes remain, no creaks, no distant calls, only the vast, comforting silence of a world momentarily at peace. Imagine your own breathing slowing to match this perfect quiet, each exhalation carrying you further into rest. The lapping has ceased to be perceptible, replaced by an absolute stillness that feels like the sea holding its breath. The prolonged gentle motion has become pure equilibrium, the ship and the water indistinguishable in their calm. All sound has receded into nothingness, leaving only the soft internal rhythm of your own pulse. The cove, the ship, the crew, the night, they have all dissolved into one seamless, peaceful void. Imagine letting go completely now, allowing that final, gentle silence to carry you into the deepest, most restful sleep. The last traces of sound have vanished entirely, the prolonged waves, the faint chimes, the soft snores all gone. What remains is pure, unbroken quiet, the kind that feels like sinking slowly into warm, endless darkness. The ship floats in perfect stillness, held by the cove as if time itself has paused. Your body relaxes fully, every muscle releasing its final tension. Your thoughts drift apart, scattering like leaves on calm water until nothing remains but peace. Sleep comes naturally now, deep and dreamless as the ancient timbers cradle you through the night. The silence is complete, profound, and utterly comforting. No sound returns. The cove, the ship, the sea, they have all become part of the same gentle nothingness. You are safe here, held in the quiet heart of history, where pirates once rested and where, tonight, you may rest as well. Close your eyes, let go, drift, sleep.